then. But did you all see the letter that was just released last week? I saw a few things about it, and then it took me a while to track it down. To get around to tracking down it. All you do is put President Reagan letter father-in-law. It's right there. But someone doing a book on Nancy Reagan, going through the Reagan Library, came across a folded up letter in Nancy Reagan's correspondence that was written by President Reagan in I believe it was 1982. So halfway through his first term. Handwritten on the stationery of the President of the United States. And it was to his father-in-law, Nancy Reagan's father, who was very close to death. In fact, just a matter of days away from death, and who identified as an atheist. And it is a passionate, very good letter written by Ronnie to his father-in-law, pleading with him to recognize who Christ is and to come to Christ. And, if you look at the last page, there's the President of the United States in his own handwriting, citing John 3:16. And he had earlier talked about messianic prophecies of Jesus and all these things. And, it just struck me at the time in reading it that we've been blessed in this nation. I mean, there are nations where that just simply could never, ever take place. And I've been blessed to, he was certainly not the first president I was aware of. I was weird. I think I've shown it. I think I brought it in, showed it on the program once before. I have a letter from Richard Milhouse Nixon, written to me when I was, I think, first or second grade. I had written a letter to him about the Vietnam War and about the Ho Chi Minh Trail in Laos and Cambodia. And I guess the fact that someone of my age was that interested in what was going on. I remember very clearly how often we would listen to the CBS Evening News with Walter Cronkite on a black and white television set. And for some reason at that age, I was really focused on that stuff. And so, I had actually kept track of that stuff from a very, very young age. But like I said, I've always considered Jimmy Carter to be one of the poorest presidents the United States has ever had, and so I guess by way of contrast, that sort of helped. But to have lived through those years, what a contrast with some who've come after him. A real contrast. And so if you haven't seen it, may I suggest you Google President Reagan's letter to his father-in-law that he had taken the time to handwrite there as President of the United States, and read some of the articles, because some of the articles did indicate that Nancy Reagan had said that there had been some reaction to it, and a positive reaction to it or something on her father's part. Who knows? God knows those things. But it just struck me that it's something we do not give thanks for very often. The fact that we've, I think of some leaders in Washington right now. I think of one young man, a senator. I won't embarrass him by saying his name. Everybody's going, this man needs to run for president because he is just so clear thinking and so straightforward and so refreshing. And I just wish he'd quit and get out of Washington before that sinkhole destroys his soul. Because anybody who tries to act with consistency or integrity or anything, I just don't even know how you survive in Washington anymore. I really, really don't. It's just, shouldn't be that way, but it is, and that's what we look at. But